Well, as many of you know, I was at the Nevada Bundy Ranch, the standoff that happened last Saturday. We see an article today from Judge Napolitano that he's fearful of what's coming next at the Bundy Ranch. I'm fearful about how Glenn Beck is playing this. We saw how controlled, how calm, how steady the Bundy family was. They were asking people not to even bring weapons there on our side. And so what Glenn Beck and other people are doing is they're trying to make it sound as if there's a large Yahoo constituency there, people who are reckless, who are trying to provoke a confrontation with the BLM. That is not what happened. The entire week, the BLM was pointing sniper rifles at unarmed people. And you know what? After you see people pointing guns at you for a long time, you kind of lose your fear of that. And that was what was happening there at that gathering, where we were going to stand them down. It's the most beautiful thing I've seen since the civil rights movement. And for him to sully this, for these quislings like Glenn Beck and others to make it into something that it isn't. Listen, we were threatened by the BLM. We were not threatening the BLM. You can see that it is not true what Glenn Beck was saying. Listen to what he said this morning.
The guys that were on the horseback, they all seemed totally cool. It was the people at the gates that I've had a hard time with. It's that sheriff, that retired sheriff that was saying, we put people, we specifically, we war gamed it. We put women and children in front. So if there was somebody that was going to be killed, it would be the women that would be killed, and that would be on TV.
So today, Glenn Beck has David Barton, and the two of them know somebody who knows somebody who they say was there. I was there. And we did not have a situation where we put women in front. You can see this from a video that I'm going to show you in just a second. That was from a retired sheriff who wasn't even there. He admitted that he didn't get to the area until after it was all over. I was at the demonstration area when Mr. Bundy was talking to the sheriff, when the sheriff came and read the BLM press release. And from that time until the time he said, I'm not giving anybody any orders except for the sheriff and for the governor who are not doing their duties, but we're going to go get our cattle back. And if you want to go, you can follow us. That was all that was said. There wasn't any gaming strategy about putting women in front, and there wasn't anybody provoking anything except for the BLM, who set up martial law in that area to collect a civil fine. Now take a look at this picture that we've got here. Does this look like an angry mob? Are these armed people? They're holding their hands in the air. They're holding flags as they walk forward. And you'll see right here in just a moment, the crowd will move forward. This is going to be, I want you to see this unedited so that you know the lies and the disinformation that Glenn Beck is feeding to people. It's the duty of people like Glenn Beck to create a provocative element so he can manufacture in people's minds that there's a bunch of yahoos out there, a bunch of people who are stirring this up. It's not credible whatsoever that the Bundys would do something provocative. He's a Ron Paul kind of character. So they have to say that there are going to be elements in there so that if the government moves against these people and kills a bunch of people, they can always say, well, of course, it wasn't the Bundys. It was other people who were in the crowd. This is what happened. People calmly moved forward. It was a civil rights demonstration. If you think this is about a welfare rancher, you don't understand what's going on. This is a civil rights movement. We have to stand down this out-of-control, brutal government that enacted martial law, that shut down free speech, created free speech areas, attacked anybody who set foot on public land. They came forward, they talked to them, they gave their demands, they were firm and resolute, they did not threaten anyone. What Glenn Beck is telling you is a lie. And I don't care how many people he says he has there. I was there. If he and David Barton say something else, I'm sorry, I was there. You can see the video footage. You can see that this is not an angry mob. You can see that they're not pointing any guns. What Glenn Beck and the mainstream media are trying to sell you is the idea that the BLM was responsible and the protesters were out of control. We were standing there peacefully. We walked up to the gate peacefully. We talked to them peacefully. They were the ones who all week had been attacking people with tasers, with canines, walking up and grabbing a weak, frail woman from behind and throwing her to the ground. They are the ones who created this martial law situation. They are not acting reasonably. We have to take our government back, and we can do it if we get together and we act peacefully. But people have to stand together. That was what was so encouraging about this event. And I'm not going to see Glenn Beck lie about this.